Hi everybody, it's me, Rick Acosta, the Dodger Card Collector, coming to you with another video. Today I went to my LCS. I wanted to pick up some cards, was in the mood. Some of the sets that consider myself a set builder, but there are some 50s and 60s sets that I just won't collect just because I don't want to have every top set. It's too big of a rabbit hole. So one of the goals that I had for 2022 was if I was not working on a set, and I planned not to work on a set, I at least wanted 10% of every set in my collection. So between, and this is from 1951 through 1970, I have the 53 set. I'm currently working on the 57 set, and I'm completed the 65 set. So any other set between 1951 and 1969, I try to own 10% of the set. And it could be star cards, it could be common cards, it could be anything. And it just gives me a chance to have some cards in my collection that I might have had when I was a kid that I just didn't want to fully invest in starting up a set. So I went to my LCS, and today my LCS of choice was the infamous or the famous Burbank card store over in Burbank. That's a great store. If you haven't checked it out, I know you've seen their videos a million times. They're on every day, and they've got a lot of incredible, I'm not into modern cards, but they have a lot of great modern cards, a lot of great slabbed cards. In fact, I didn't even look at them today because I was so busy in what they call the showroom number 2, which is the vintage area, which is in the corner. If you haven't been there, it's in the corner of the store, and it's all vintage baseball. They're starting to add in some football and some basketball, and they lay out their very nice cards in glass cases, but then they have these huge boxes of commons that they sell for every year from, like, right now I think it's like 1957 through 1980 are covered. So I went in today with 3 goals: to look at the 1962, to pick up around 20 1962 cards, to pick up roughly 10 1958 cards. That would reach my goal of 10% on both those sets. And since I'm currently working on the 57 set, I wanted to see if they had any of the 18 cards I was currently missing. So enough talking. Let me show you what I got. I'll mention prices to you here because one of the things I enjoy about going to Burbank is, let's say the 62 cards that I'm about to show you, they're $2.50 each. Are they in super excellent mint condition? No, but they're nice. They're decent. And if you don't want creases in your cards, don't buy them. But you can find some good stuff, and you'll actually find some Hall of Fame cards and some good cards in there. So all these 1962s cost me $2.50, starting with the All-Star American League All-Star Sporting News Rocky Colavito, who at this point looks like he was playing for the Detroit Tigers. So I do like buying All-Star cards, just because it's funny though. I find some All-Star cards and I don't even know who the guy is. So some guy used to play for the Reds or the Indians. Next card is a very young manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, Gene Mauch, a couple of years before the 1964 collapse, and around 20 years before the 1982 collapse of the California Angels in the American League Championship Series. But Gene had a really good run with the Phillies, the Expos, and the Angels. He was a good manager. Unfortunately, he just was never able to win the big one. Okay, I'm a sucker for team cards, so I bought the Boston Red Sox team card. Nothing special there. That yellow background is interesting. And then again, I'm also a sucker for group cards, and the group cards were really big in the 60s. This one, the Braves backstops, featuring Joe Torre and Del Crandall. I know Crandall eventually would become manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, and Joe Torre went on to have a Hall of Fame career, not as a player. And I do think he should be in there as a player, but he's in there as a manager. So love those group cards that they had from the 60s. And like I say, sometimes you just pick a card just because you like it. I have no clue who Johnny Romano is, but I just love the simpleness of the shot. He's swinging away during batting practice. Yankee Stadium in the background, still nobody in the stands. So that is Johnny Romano. I guess these are considered highlight cards, and I was pleased to find these in here. I picked up a few. Warren Spahn shows no hit form. These are in-action cards 10 years before Topps started releasing actual action shots in their cards. But these, I guess, you could call maybe the original action shots. And next, another Hall of Famer, Whitey Ford. Whitey Ford tosses a curve. And like I say, $2.50. I'm buying a Hall of Fame card. Just nice to throw in my raw case. I'll have to show you how I store my cards one day, because my my 51 through 69 cards that do not belong to sets have their own little library card case in which I put my cards in. So here's Whitey Ford tossing a curve. And I think I have one more. Yeah, one more. This one's not in the best of shape, but I took it just because of who it was. Harmon Killebrew sends one into orbit. It's a great card. That one maybe I should buy a nice one and have a nice one that's already slabbed. But that's a great picture of Harmon Killebrew. And next is Jim Mudcat Grant. Jim Mudcat Grant was very popular with the Twins in the mid-60s. And my next card, and just by feeling it, I can tell it's a little creased and a little beat up. And that's the Phillies team card. Again, like I said, I'm a sucker for those team cards. I should have looked at that card a little bit more carefully. Hall of Fame manager Al Lopez of the Chicago White Sox. Again, I'm noticing a crease here. See, so somebody needs to pay attention when he's buying cards. Sometimes I get so excited when I see cards that I don't thoroughly investigate them. Okay, here's another subset. I wasn't able to buy any World Series cards, but I was able to buy one, and that's the Winners Celebrate. And I need a Yankee fan out there to help me with the three guys. I think that could be Gil McDougall in the center. I am not sure. But that's the Winners Celebrate from the 1961 series against the Cincinnati Reds. Again, I have no clue who Terry Fox is. I liked the card. I liked the old-fashioned pose. I love the uniform. It's just a great shot, so that's why I picked it up. Another group card, a couple actually coming up. Hot Corner Guardians with Billy Gardner and Cletus Boyer. I knew him as Cleet Boyer. That's Ken Boyer's brother. He played for the Yankees throughout the 60s. Eventually was traded to the Braves. A very good third baseman. And a former Yankee is in this shot, but now with the Kansas City A's. The pride of the A's is Hank Bowers on the center of that card. I've mentioned this in a few of my videos. Absolutely love the Athletics uniforms back then. I thought they were way cooler than they are now with the green and the yellow. They do look like everyone else, though. They look like the Indians. They look like the Orioles. Next up, I like this team card. This one doesn't have a yellow background for the Chicago White Sox. A red background. But that's a nice close-up shot of the 1962 Chicago White Sox. Next is Tito Francona, the original Tito Francona, who back then was an outfielder for the Cleveland Indians. We all know his son, Terry, had a good MLB career and eventually became a manager with the Red Sox, where he won a couple of World Series, at least a couple, I believe, and is now managing the Cleveland Guardians. All right, couple more 62s. I love this. You know, where else can you go buy a card with a Hall of Famer in there for $2.50? The 1961 National League win leaders featuring Warren Spahn, Joe Jay, and Jim O'Toole of the Reds. Spahn led with 21 wins, and Joe Jay also had 21 wins. Where were Koufax and Drysdale at this point? I could see Padres had 18, and I can't read the rest of that card, but Thought I'd turn that around, but that's the National League NL leaders. Brand new Hall of Famer, Jim Cott. This would be his 3rd-year card. That was a nice pickup. That one kind of fell into my lap when I was going through the stacks of cards they had over there. I saw that one and just decided to take it. And my last 62 card is Tom Morgan, Angels pitcher. I know he also pitched for the Yankees. My memories of him was that he was the pitching coach of the California Angels when Nolan Ryan was traded to the Angels. And Nolan Ryan gave Tom Morgan the biggest amount of credit for basically making his career, making his windup work to where he became a star pitcher. And Morgan was with the Angels for several years, and he really helped Nolan Ryan out. And Nolan Ryan gave him a lot of credit for his career and his success with the Angels, where he became a 20-game winner and a strikeout leader. All right, now switching over to the 1958 cards. These were $4 each, and again, you know, you could find $4 cards, and I'm sure those of you who are at the National right now are finding them, but kind of hard to find at some of these LCSs because it seems like a lot of these places just have modern cards, and like I said, these are great to have. So here's a 1958 All-Star selection of Bob Friend with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then another All-Star card, Bill Muscowren of the New York Yankees. 1958 All-Star selection at first base. And the managers. The All-Star managers, Casey Stengel of the Yankees, Fred Haney of the Milwaukee Braves. And like I say, it's just nice to have some different types of cards in your collection that don't necessarily belong to a set, but you could still take them out and take a look at them and appreciate them. All right, Milt Pappas, starting pitcher for the Orioles until he was traded to the Cincinnati Reds in the Frank Robinson trade. I just read about him in Leo DeRocher's Nice Guys Finish last book. DeRocher didn't have too many kind words to say about Pappas. And I'll leave it at that. I shouldn't have even brought it up, but it's a long story. So that's Milt Pappas. 1958, Bobby Shantz of the New York Yankees, the former 1952 American League MVP when he was with the Philadelphia Athletics. That's Bobby Shantz. And I like this team card. I love team cards. The Cincinnati Redlegs. And somewhere in there is Frank Robinson. I think. I'd have to look hard. I don't see him at the moment, but yeah, now I see him. He's in the third row. So that's the Reds team card. And in the back, what did they do back then? They did an alphabetical checklist. Oh, that's interesting. So they had alphabetical checklists back then. That's pretty cool. All right. Another former manager, Ken Aspromonte. At this point, he was playing for the Washington Senators. Also spent some time in the Dodgers system, and eventually ended up becoming the manager of the Cleveland Indians in the early 70s. Wally Post. I don't know much about Wally Post. I thought he played for the Reds. This card is with the Philadelphia Phillies, because I want to say he was on the All-Star team in the early 60s with the Reds. I could be wrong. I bought this one because I liked the black background. I just thought it was a little different. And my last 58, this one's beat up, but I bought it because Frank Robinson's in it. Birdie's young slugger, Bertie Tebbets, the manager of the Reds, along with Frank Robinson. I find it funny that all it says is Bailey. I think that's Ed Bailey. I'm not sure. But they forgot to put the first name there. But I thought Frank Robinson's in here. The card only costs $4. Let's pick it up. It's not going into any sheets or any 58 Topps collection, nothing like that. So I was able to find 2 cards from my 1957 set. This guy, he must be a single print because I was having the biggest issue trying to find him. Dave Philly, Chicago White Sox, card number 124. I could never win him in the Greg Morris auctions, and he wasn't always in the Greg Morris auctions. And every time I tried winning him on eBay, I was always getting outbid. I have to assume this is a single print card. And today I found it in the what was it, the $4 section at the Burbank Sportscards. So I was glad to get that one out of the way, because that one, and there is a semi-high number of Haywood Sullivan of the Red Sox. I think he eventually became the GM of the Red Sox at one point. Having a little bit of a struggle getting these guys. You know, it's one thing when you're trying to find a superstar like Mickey Mantle or Willie Mays, but when you're looking for someone like Dave Philly or Haywood Sullivan, it almost makes you want to pull your hair out. So, and then my last pickup, and I bought this one from the glass case. I decided to buy this card raw instead of buying it slab, was the Ed Matthews card. Just because I liked the card, I liked the price. I didn't want to have to go to the... I'm liking how my 1957 set is looking in binders. Granted, there are going to be cards like a Mickey Mantle or an Ernie Banks and a Willie Mays and a Sandy Koufax. I'm going to have to buy them slabbed if I don't already own them. I felt I could get away with just buying a raw Ed Matthews card. The same way I bought a raw Richie Ashburn card. And I'm still debating whether to buy the Whitey Ford card raw or slab, just because it's a good looking set in binders and it's just nice to look at. And when you have a little hole in there, and it's kind of like, you know, what superstar did I buy that card slabbed in? I don't have to do that in this case. So there's my 1957 Ed Matthews. I am down to 6. I need 16 more cards to finish the 1957 set. So the Dave Philly and the Ed Matthews will go in binders. The other cards that I showed you will go into penny sleeves and then into the top loaders, and then they'll go into the library drawer case that I have for them. But thanks for joining me. I appreciate you, those of you that have stuck around and have been watching and who watched all this video. And thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.